Confidence isn't loud. It's lethal. It's the calm that walks into a room and owns it without saying a word. The world doesn't want you dangerously confident. They want you safe, predictable, obedient. But you're not here for that. You're here to reclaim power, the kind that doesn't shout, it radiates. In this audiobook, you'll learn how to kill doubt, train your mind, and become the version of yourself that no one can intimidate or control. This isn't motivation, it's transformation. Chapter 1. The Lie They Sold You About Confidence. They told you confidence starts in your mind. They lied. Confidence doesn't start with belief. It starts with proof, with scars, with doing the thing, again and again, until hesitation dies. You don't think your way into confidence. You earn it. You build it in silence. You forge it in uncomfortable. You don't fake confidence. You forge it. That's the key. The world feeds you soft lies. Just believe in yourself. Manifest it. Think positive. That's not confidence. That's fantasy. Real confidence isn't about repeating affirmations in front of a mirror. It's about doing the hard thing when your hands are shaking. It's walking into the room underqualified, but still performing because you've prepared for it. Confidence comes from evidence, from repetition, from results, from experience. You can't lie to yourself when you've done the work. You have proof. That's what they don't tell you. You don't start confident. You start scared. You start unsure. And you build the proof that changes how you see yourself. Most people want to look confident. Few want to become confident. They want the praise without the process, the appearance without endurance. They spend hours posing for social media, chasing validation, chasing likes, chasing the illusion of control. But when the noise fades, they still doubt themselves, because deep down they know it's not real. Their confidence depends on approval, and anything that depends on approval will collapse the moment you face rejection. That's why external confidence fails, because the second someone disapproves, your identity shakes. The second your post doesn't perform, you question your worth. You've built your identity on applause instead of action. That's not confidence. That's dependency. You have a choice. You can keep chasing validation, or you can build proof. Confidence is quiet because it doesn't need noise. It doesn't need to be seen. It just is. When you've put in the reps, when you've faced the pain, when you've done the work, no one can take that from you. That's where real confidence lives. You don't need their permission. You don't need their applause. You need discipline. Discipline to do the work that proves to yourself you can. Because confidence is not built by words. It's built by actions that back your words. Every time you choose to act instead of talk, you're stacking proof. Every time you show up when no one's watching, you're stacking proof. Every time you fail and still keep moving, you're stacking proof. That's confidence being forged. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It's mastery of fear. It's the ability to act while fear screams in your ear. People think confident people don't feel fear. They do. They just don't surrender to it. You'll never stop being afraid, but you can stop letting fear control your behavior. That's the difference between those who make it and those who don't. The confident ones have trained their mind to move, no matter how they feel. They've learned to act before the brain can negotiate. That's the muscle you build when you stop talking and start doing. It's not about being fearless. It's about being relentless. You have to break the addiction to ease. That's what keeps you weak. Comfort kills confidence faster than failure ever will. You don't get confident by sitting around waiting to feel ready. You get confident by doing it unready, over and over, until readiness becomes irrelevant. Stop telling yourself you need more time, more courage, more approval. You need more action. You need more proof. You need more uncomfortable moments where you learn what you're really made of. That's how confidence grows, through action, repetition, and resilience. You don't need their permission. You need your persistence. Think about a soldier, an athlete, an entrepreneur. None of them were born confident. They were built through repetition and rejection. Every mistake was data. Every setback was training. Every no was an opportunity to sharpen focus. They didn't fake confidence, they forged it through effort. You have the same choice, to talk or to train, to dream or to do, to pretend or to prove. The moment you stop performing for validation and start performing for mastery, everything changes. That's when your voice gets calmer, your energy is steadier, your moves are sharper, because you no longer need to prove you already know. That's the power they never teach you. You don't need to look confident, you need to be competent. You don't need hype, you need habits. You don't need applause, you need accountability. Confidence is not built by pretending to be fearless. It's built by surviving your fears and realizing they didn't destroy you. You have a choice: fake it or forge it. Talk about it or be about it. And here's the truth. If you keep waiting to feel confident before you start, you'll never start. Because confidence is the result of starting, not the requirement. You start scared, you start messy, you start unsure, and you build the proof that changes how you see yourself. You have seen the lie, you felt the difference. Now it's time to rebuild trust with yourself, the real foundation of unstoppable confidence. Because once you trust yourself, no one's opinion can touch you. That's where we're going next. Chapter 2. The Silent Power of Self-Trust.
Confidence isn't loud. It's quiet. It's the kind of quiet that comes from knowing, not hoping, that you'll handle whatever comes next. That's self-trust. And that's the foundation of every truly confident person you've ever met. You can't fake it. You can't post it. You can't borrow it. You build it by keeping promises to yourself when no one's watching. That's the secret. Confidence is self-trust in action. Every day, you're training your brain to believe something about you. Every day, you cast a vote either for your strength or for your weakness. When you say, "I'll wake up early," and you don't, you just trained your brain to not believe you. When you say, "I'll start that project," and you stall, you teach your subconscious that your words mean nothing. That's self-betrayal. And it's the reason you doubt yourself even when you're capable. You're not lazy. You're untrustworthy to yourself. You've repeated the habit of breaking your own word so often that now, even when you set goals, your mind whispers, "We've heard this before." That's the voice of broken self-trust. But here's the good news. You can rebuild it. Just like a muscle, self-trust grows through repetition. Every time you keep a promise, even a small one, you send a signal to your brain, "I'm reliable. I will follow through." And the more often you do it, the louder that signal becomes. You don't need to conquer everything at once. You need to start small and stay consistent. Wake up when you said you would. Work out for 10 minutes if that's all you can do. Finish the small task you've been avoiding. It's not about perfection, it's about integrity. And integrity builds confidence faster than any motivational quote ever will. The most dangerous habit in the world isn't procrastination. It's self-betrayal. You can lie to others and still move forward, but when you lie to yourself, everything stops. You lose respect for yourself. You lose momentum. You lose belief. And once you stop believing your own words, you'll depend on others to validate you. That's the trap. Because when you stop trusting yourself, you start needing permission. You start needing praise. You start needing reassurance. And every time someone doesn't give it, your confidence collapses. That's why external validation feels like a drug. It fills the hole that self-trust should have filled. You don't need their permission. You need your consistency. That's the key. Think of the most confident people you know. They don't second-guess themselves. They don't explain every decision. Why? Because they've seen themselves follow through 1,000 times before. They've earned the right to trust their instincts. When they say, "I'll do it," they know they will, because their track record proves it. That's what you're missing if you still hesitate, still overthink, still apologize for your ambition. You don't lack talent. You lack trust in yourself. And trust is built by proof, not talk. You have to prove to yourself that you're dependable. That's what confidence really is, the quiet knowing that you'll show up no matter what. You have a choice. Every morning you wake up, you choose whether to build trust or break it. You choose whether your actions match your words or betray them. And every choice counts. Every broken promise takes a piece of your power. Every kept promise adds it back. Stop waiting for confidence to magically appear. It won't. It's the reward for discipline, not a prerequisite. You can't feel your way into trusting yourself. You prove your way into it. That's the discipline. That's the foundation. Start rebuilding that foundation today. Keep one promise, just one. It doesn't have to be massive, but it must be real. It must be completed. Do it until your brain starts believing again. Do it until your word means something again. Because the day your mind believes your word, that's the day you become unstoppable. That's when the hesitation disappears. That's when fear becomes background noise. That's when you stop chasing motivation, because now you've become the source. You'll know you've built self-trust when you no longer need to announce your goals. You'll just do them. You won't need validation. You'll validate yourself. Confidence won't be a feeling anymore. It'll be a fact, backed by your behavior. And here's what most people never realize. Self-trust creates peace. When you know you'll handle it, there's no panic. When you know you'll show up, there's no overthinking. When you know you'll finish, there's no fear. That's real confidence, the kind that can't be shaken by anyone's opinion. So stop saying you'll change. Stop saying you'll try. Start proving that your word still has weight. You don't need another book. You don't need another motivational video. You need to keep the next promise you make to yourself. That's it. Do that and watch how fast your mind changes. Watch how fast your posture changes. Watch how fast your energy changes. Confidence is self-trust in action. And action, not talk, is how you reclaim your power. You've been waiting to believe in yourself. Here's the truth. You don't start by believing. You start by behaving, and belief follows. So now rebuild your integrity. Rebuild your trust. Rebuild your proof. Because the person who trusts themselves can't be manipulated, can't be broken, can't be stopped. And when you get there, when your mind finally trusts your word again, you'll never need to shrink or apologize for who you are. Because self-trust makes you unapologetic. And that's exactly where we're heading next. Chapter 3. Stop apologizing for existing. Confidence dies every time you shrink yourself to make someone else comfortable. Every time you over-explain your choices. Every time you say sorry for simply taking up space. That's how most people lose their power. Not by failure, not by rejection, but by constant self-erasure. You've been trained to think humility means shrinking. It doesn't. True humility is strength under control, not silence under fear. You don't need their permission to be yourself. That's the key. Think about how often you dilute your truth just to fit in. You soften your voice so no one feels threatened. You edit your opinion so you don't stand out. You pretend to agree to avoid confrontation. And with every compromise, you carve a little piece out of your confidence. Confidence isn't arrogance, it's ownership. It's the decision to show up as you are without begging for approval. The world respects people who move with certainty, even when they're still figuring things out. Because confidence isn't knowing everything, it's trusting that you can handle anything. You have a choice. Keep apologizing for who you are or start owning it, flaws and all. That's the moment your power begins to return. Stop apologizing for speaking with strength. Stop apologizing for being passionate. Stop apologizing for your energy, your drive, your ambition. You weren't put here to play small. You were put here to contribute, to impact, to evolve. And you can't do that while constantly bowing your head to make others feel safe around your confidence. Listen carefully. People who are uncomfortable with your presence are often unsettled by what it reminds them of, their own passivity. You're not too much. You're just enough in a world that's forgotten what full power looks like. Stop explaining why you move differently. Stop shrinking your light because others refuse to turn theirs on. You don't need to justify your hunger. You don't need to explain your standards. You don't need to make your success palatable for people who chose comfort over growth. That's the truth. Confidence is not built in front of applause. It's built in silence through 1,000 tiny acts of self-respect. When you stand tall after being dismissed, when you speak your mind even when your voice shakes, when you choose your direction even when no one understands it. That's how you build confidence, not by seeking approval, but by surviving without it. Every time you act without permission, you reinforce your power. Every time you stop apologizing for existing, you reclaim another piece of your authority. You're not waiting to be accepted. You're building yourself until acceptance becomes irrelevant. That's how confident people think. Let's talk about over-explaining. Over-explaining is emotional debt. You think you're buying understanding, but you're selling your self-worth. You don't need to convince anyone that your goals matter. You don't need to prove that your dream is realistic. You don't need to defend your boundaries. Boundaries don't need defense. They need enforcement. The moment you start over-explaining, you step out of authority and into approval-seeking. You start negotiating your identity. And the truth is, no one truly respects the person who apologizes for being themselves. They respect the one who says less and does more. That's the kind of quiet dominance real confidence brings. Think about this. The people you admire most don't explain who they are. They demonstrate it. They move with clarity. They act with conviction.
They don't wait to be understood. They wait to be proven right through time. Confidence isn't about being loud. It's about being unwavering. And unwavering starts when you stop seeking approval and start standing firm. You have to learn to hold your position, even when it's unpopular, even when you're underestimated, even when you're doubted. Because here's the secret. People eventually align with those who refuse to back down. The world doesn't follow uncertainty. It follows conviction. And conviction doesn't apologize. So how do you stop apologizing for existing? Start by catching yourself. Notice every time you downplay your achievements. Notice every time you start your sentence with "sorry but" or "maybe I'm wrong but." Notice every time you ask for permission to express what you already know is true. Then stop, mid-sentence if you have to. Replace it with ownership. Instead of "sorry for saying this," say "here's what I think." Instead of "I don't mean to sound confident," say "I've earned the right to speak from experience." Instead of "I hope that's okay," say "that's my decision." Words shape your reality. Change your language and your confidence will follow. That's the first step towards unapologetic living. Confidence isn't about dominance, it's about direction. It's about knowing where you're going and refusing to dim your clarity just because others haven't found theirs yet. You have to become comfortable being misunderstood, because every confident person is misunderstood at first. When you stand firm, people will question you. When you move differently, people will doubt you. When you set boundaries, people will test you. Let them. You're not responsible for their discomfort. You're responsible for your alignment. And alignment means showing up as your full self. No explanations, no apologies. You don't fake confidence. You own your truth. You stand tall, not because you're better than anyone, but because you finally stopped betraying yourself. Confidence is born in that exact moment, when you stop negotiating your worth, when you stop editing your authenticity, when you stop begging for permission to exist. The moment you decide that you belong here, your life changes. You walk differently, you speak differently, you move differently. Because now, your power doesn't come from approval, it comes from self-acceptance. And when you get to that place, you become unshakable, because there's nothing left to prove. You have a choice right now. Keep apologizing for your strength, or start using it. Keep explaining yourself, or start expressing yourself. Keep waiting for permission, or give yourself full access to your potential. That's the mindset shift that separates the average from the unstoppable. And once you stop apologizing for existing, you'll realize how much energy you've been wasting trying to please people who were never meant to understand you. Redirect that energy inward. Use it to build discipline. Use it to train your mind. Use it to strengthen your body. Because confidence doesn't just live in your words, it lives in your habits, your posture, and your physical presence. And that's exactly where we're going next. Chapter 4. Train your body, rewire your mind.
Your body is not just a vehicle, it's a command center. Every muscle, every breath, every posture you take sends a message to your brain, to the people around you, and to life itself. If your body moves like a victim, your mind will think like one. If your body stands like a leader, your mind will follow that script. That's not motivation, that's biology. The body controls the mind. Your physiology shapes your psychology. Stand like you mean it, and your brain will follow. The hidden language of power. Walk into a room with your shoulders slouched, eyes down, voice shaky, and your brain assumes danger.
It prepares to hide. That's why anxious people breathe shallow. That's why the insecure shuffle their feet. The body signals weakness, and the mind obeys. But walk tall, spine straight, eyes forward, voice calm, and the mind begins to believe you're safe. You start to feel confident, even if you weren't 5 seconds ago. This is how you rewire yourself, through action before emotion. Confidence isn't a thought. It's a posture you train until your brain catches up. You have a choice every morning. Slouch and shrink, or stand and send a message. That's the key. The power of posture. Posture is identity made physical. When you stand tall, you tell the world and to your subconscious that you belong, that you have purpose, that you are not apologizing for existing. So start here, shoulders back, chest slightly open, jaw relaxed. Keep your head up when you walk, even if your world is falling apart, because your posture is not about how you feel. It's about how you decide to show up. The next time fear hits you, don't think your way out. Stand your way out. Stand like a conqueror. Breathe like a warrior. Move like you already won. That's how you command respect from others and from your own mind. Breath, the secret weapon. You can't control life, but you can control your breath. And when you control your breath, you control your state. When anxiety spikes, your breathing speeds up. That's your body's alarm system, but you can hack it. Slow your breathing. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Steady rhythm. Do it for 1 minute, and your heart rate drops. Your brain believes the storm has passed. Breathing is the remote control to your nervous system. Master it, and you master your emotions. That's not a motivational quote. That's neuroscience. You don't need calm circumstances to be calm. You create calm through controlled breath. That's the discipline most people never practice. Eye contact and energy. Here's a truth few people want to hear. The world treats you based on your energy, not your words. People can feel your confidence or your insecurity before you even speak. Strong eye contact is a declaration. I'm not afraid to exist here. It's not about staring people down. It's about being fully present. When you speak to someone, look into their eyes long enough to show certainty, but not to prove a point. You don't need their permission. Your tone, too, is a reflection of internal power. A calm voice cuts deeper than loud words. Speak slowly. Speak clearly. Speak like you expect to be heard. Because when your voice carries peace, people assume strength. Remember, dominance isn't about aggression. It's about control. You don't control others. You control your state. That's what commands respect. The daily drills. Training your body is not a one-time event. It's a ritual. Confidence is a skill you practice. Here are your drills. 1. Posture reset. Every hour, pause. Check your shoulders. Lift your chin. Adjust your spine. Reclaim your presence. 2. Power breathing. 3 times a day, take 10 slow, deep breaths. Reset your nervous system. 3. Eye contact challenge. Each day, hold eye contact for 1 extra second longer than you normally would. Train comfort in discomfort. 4. Voice control. Record yourself speaking. Eliminate filler words. Lower your tone slightly. Train calm authority. 5. Movement discipline. Walk with purpose. Never rush, never drag. Move like your time matters. These are not small things. These are the roots of transformation. When your body learns power, Your mind stops begging for it. Rewiring from the outside in. People try to change their lives from the inside out. They wait to feel confident before acting confident. That's backward. You act first, feel second. You move before you believe. You train before you transform. That's how every fighter, every leader, every peak performer rewires their brain through repetition, not inspiration. Confidence is not built in the mind. It's built in the mirror, through daily alignment between who you want to be and how you carry yourself. The body becomes the story the mind repeats. The transformation equation. Here's the truth. You don't rise to your level of motivation. You fall to your level of conditioning. So condition yourself like a machine. Posture strong. Breath steady. Tone calm. Focus clear. Do this long enough, and you'll notice something. People will start treating you differently. They won't know why, but you will. You've trained your body, and your mind has adapted. That's the formula. That's the power most never touch because they think confidence is emotional. It's not. It's physical. You are a system. Train the system. Your body is the switch that rewires your brain, and your brain is the engine that drives your destiny. So start today. Stand like you mean it. Breathe like you belong. Move like you own your space. You don't need their permission to be powerful. You just need discipline to stay aligned with the power you already have. You trained your body. Now your mind follows. You mastered presence. Now let's master emotion. Chapter 5. Emotion under control. The real flex.
Power isn't loud. It's controlled. Real confidence isn't about showing strength. It's about staying centered when everyone else loses theirs. Because here's the truth. Emotionally reactive people are predictable, and predictable people are easy to manipulate. You can't lead yourself or anyone if your emotions lead you. Control the feeling, command the moment. That's the real flex. Emotional control is power. The world belongs to those who can stay calm under pressure. Anyone can act tough when things are easy, but when chaos hits, when people push your buttons, when plans fall apart, when insults fly, your response reveals who's in charge, you or your emotions. Emotional control isn't weakness, it's strength in its highest form. Because anger, panic, jealousy, they're all energy. And energy, when misused, destroys progress. When you react without thought, you hand your power to the moment. But when you pause, when you take one breath before responding, you turn chaos into clarity. That's the key. The trap of emotional reactivity. Reactive people are easy to predict. They get angry when insulted. They panic when things go wrong. They quit when it gets hard. Predictable behavior makes you powerless because everyone knows your buttons. And when people know your buttons, they control you. You have a choice: stay reactive or become strategic. Most people react, they don't respond. They hear something offensive and immediately speak without thinking. They see a problem and instinctively assume the worst. They feel rejected and start overthinking. That's not control, that's chaos. If you can't command your internal world, the external world will command you. Power hides in restraint. Control isn't suppression, it's direction. It's taking that fire inside you and channeling it. When someone disrespects you, your first instinct is to lash out. But pause. Breathe. Because silence in the right moment is louder than any comeback. The disciplined man or woman doesn't need to prove anything. They know power is best demonstrated through restraint. Not everything needs your reaction. Not every insult needs your attention. You win by staying calm when others expect chaos. You win by responding when they expect rage. You win by being deliberate when they expect you to fold. That's control. That's composure. That's the real flex. The pause before the storm. There's a simple rule for emotional mastery. Pause before reacting. The pause gives you perspective. It's a gap, just 1 second, between what happens and what you decide to do. In that second, your life direction shifts, because reaction is automatic, but response is intentional. Here's how to build that pause. 1. Feel the trigger. Notice when emotion hits: tight chest, shallow breath, racing thoughts. 2. Don't fight it. Acknowledge it. I'm angry. I'm anxious. I'm hurt. 3. Breathe. 1 deep inhale through your nose, 1 slow exhale through your mouth. 4. Ask yourself, what's the smartest move right now? 5. Then act, not out of emotion, but out of purpose. Do this every time, and you'll notice something powerful. Emotions lose control over you. That's not luck. That's conditioning. The myth of authentic emotion. People say, I'm just being real. I say what I feel. No, you're being impulsive. Real doesn't mean reactive. True authenticity isn't about emotional exposure. It's about emotional alignment. It's not about blurting out every feeling you have. It's about expressing only what aligns with your values, your mission, your discipline. You don't need to vent to feel better. You need to control to get better. Control the feeling, command the moment. That's what separates professionals from amateurs, leaders from followers, masters from reactors. Training emotional discipline. Emotional control is not a gift, it's a muscle. You train it through repetition, through deliberate restraint when your ego screams for reaction. Here's how you build it. 1. Start small. Practice not responding immediately to every message, comment, or opinion. Let silence do the work. 2. Observe yourself. When emotion rises, study it. Where do you feel it? What triggered it? Awareness creates distance. 3. Reframe the story. Instead of, they disrespected me, say, this is a test of my composure. 4. Reward calmness. Every time you stay calm, acknowledge it. Confidence grows through consistency. 5. Reflect nightly. Ask yourself, where did I stay composed today? Where did I lose control? Adjust tomorrow accordingly. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. That's the discipline. Emotional stoicism in action. Think of the calmest people you know. They rarely speak first. They don't rush to defend themselves. Their stillness commands attention. Because in a noisy world, composure is magnetic. When you stay calm, people wonder what you know that they don't. They project power onto you because calmness is rare, and rarity always looks like strength. But understand this, stoicism is not numbness. It's awareness without surrender. It's feeling deeply, but responding wisely. You still feel anger. You still feel fear. You just don't feed them. You control the flame instead of letting it burn your house down. The cost of losing control. Every outburst costs you credibility. Every meltdown drains your energy. Every impulsive decision sets you back weeks or months. Think about it. How many times have you said something in anger that you later regretted? How many opportunities have you lost because you couldn't control your mouth? The lack of emotional control is the most expensive mistake people make. You can rebuild money, you can rebuild your reputation, but it's hard to rebuild respect Once people see you lose it. So stop handing out emotional access to people who haven't earned it. Not everyone deserves a reaction. That's the new standard. Controlled emotion equals commanded life. Master your emotions and everything else follows. Your relationships improve, your focus sharpens, your confidence grows. Because when you control the inner world, the outer world bends to match it. Calm is not passive, it's powerful. You become the steady force others look to when they panic. You become the storm they can't shake. You become untouchable. And here's the truth. Emotional control doesn't kill passion. It purifies it. You stop wasting energy on useless reactions and start using it to build. That's emotional alchemy, turning fire into fuel. You have a choice every single day. Be reactive and lose control, or be composed and stay in command. Control the feeling, command the moment. That's the real flex. That's real confidence. That's real leadership. You've mastered composure. Now it's time to go deeper into the power of emotional detachment. Chapter 6. The Art of Not Caring.
Here's the truth. Most people care too much about the wrong things. They care what others think. They care about being liked. They care about looking successful instead of being powerful. And that's why they're exhausted. That's why they never feel free. Because caring about everything is emotional slavery. Confidence, real confidence, begins the moment you stop begging for permission to exist. Indifference is a superpower. When nothing owns you, everything follows you. The power of detachment. Detachment doesn't mean apathy. It means control. It's not about not feeling. It's about not being ruled by what you feel. You have a choice. Live as a slave to every opinion or stand still while the world spins. The world teaches you to chase validation. Social media feeds it. Society rewards it. You post something and instantly check who liked it. You make progress and you need applause before you believe it's real. But here's the reality. The more you chase attention, the weaker you become. The more you need approval, the less you trust yourself. That's not power, that's dependence. Detach. Let people talk. Let outcomes unfold. Let silence be your proof. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. That's the key. Caring less makes you magnetic. There's a paradox that confident people understand. The less you try to impress, the more impressive you become. Desperation repels. Calm detachment attracts. People can feel when you're desperate for validation. They can sense when your self-worth depends on their reaction. They lose respect for you because energy never lies. But when you move with quiet certainty, when you don't need to prove, when rejection doesn't shake you, people start wondering what they know that you don't. They start chasing you. That's the silent magnetism of indifference. It's not arrogance, it's self-trust. You don't need their permission. You don't need their applause. You don't need their validation to feel complete. You have yourself. That's enough. The weight of opinions. Most people are suffocating under the opinions of others. They don't act because they're scared of judgment. They don't speak because they fear rejection. They don't chase their dreams because someone might laugh. Here's the truth. No one thinks about you as much as you think they are. Everyone's too busy thinking about themselves. You're not the center of their universe. You're a passing thought. So stop living like their opinion defines your worth. You have one job. Live in alignment with your values, not their expectations. That's real freedom. When you detach from opinions, you free your energy to focus on what matters. That's where growth happens. That's where peace begins. The illusion of control. You can't control what people say. You can't control outcomes. You can't control how life unfolds. But you can control your reaction. You can control your focus. You can control how much you care. Every moment you have a choice: react emotionally or move strategically. When you try to control everything, you suffer. When you surrender to what you can't control, you thrive. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. The art of not caring isn't shutting off emotion. It's mastering response. It's saying, I'll show up fully, but I won't attach to the result. You can't lose what you're not owned by. When nothing owns you, everything follows you. Emotional freedom through detachment. Here's what emotional freedom looks like. You're calm when people criticize you. You're focused when others doubt you. You're grounded when outcomes don't go your way, because your peace is internal. You've stopped outsourcing your mood to the opinions of strangers. You've stopped giving energy to things that don't build you. You've stopped reacting to every little thing that moves around you. That's when confidence becomes real. That's when your energy becomes untouchable. You can walk into a room, say nothing, and still shift the atmosphere, not because you're loud, but because you're centered. That's power. How to practice not caring. This is not philosophy. It's a daily practice. Here's how you build it. 1. Delay your reaction. When something offends you, don't react. Wait 24 hours. Most things lose their power overnight. 2. Detach from praise and criticism. Praise feels good, but it's a trap. If you need praise to feel strong, you'll collapse under criticism. 3. Say no without explaining. The moment you stop over-explaining your boundaries, you reclaim your authority. 4. Do hard things alone. Solitude builds internal validation. Learn to enjoy your own company. 5. Remind yourself daily, I don't need approval to move. Do this long enough, and you'll realize the world bends to those who stay centered, not those who chase. The confidence of letting go. People think confidence is loud. It's not. Confidence is quiet detachment. It's saying, I'll do it with or without support. When you stop caring about being seen, you start building things that last. When you stop explaining yourself, you start living with direction. When you stop trying to be understood, you start becoming undeniable. Let go of needing to be liked. You're not here to fit in. You're here to stand firm. It's not about arrogance. It's about independence. Because if your self-worth depends on others, they'll always control you. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't owe anyone your validation. Your worth is non-negotiable. That's the mindset of the unshakable. The magnetic calm. Have you ever noticed that the people who care the least always seem to win? They're not desperate. They're not performing. They're focused. They operate from abundance, not scarcity. They know that loss isn't fatal. They know that rejection isn't the end. They know that silence doesn't mean failure. They care, but selectively. Their energy is expensive. Their attention is sacred. They give it only where it counts. That's what makes them magnetic. That's what makes them dangerous. When nothing owns you, everything follows you, because you radiate control. The discipline of detachment. The art of not caring isn't built in a day. It's trained through repetition. Every time you detach from something that doesn't serve you, you grow stronger. Stop caring about things you can't change. Stop explaining your choices to people who will never understand. Stop letting the noise distract you from your direction. This is mental minimalism. Keep only what strengthens you. Let go of everything that drains you. That's the discipline. Closing thought. Indifference isn't cold. It's controlled warmth. You still love. You still give. But you choose where your energy goes. That's what makes you untouchable. That's what makes you free. When nothing owns you, everything follows you. And now that you've mastered emotional detachment, it's time to refine your power even further, to control not just your emotions, but your words and movements. Chapter 7. Speak less, move sharper.
Silence isn't weakness. It's control. Real confidence doesn't compete for attention. It commands it without a word. The loudest person in the room is almost never the strongest. They talk to convince themselves. The quiet one? They already know. You don't need to announce power. Power reveals itself through movement, not noise. Through execution, not explanation. Through results, not reassurance. You've been trained to fill silence, to prove, to justify, to explain every move so people don't misjudge you. But here's the truth. The moment you start explaining yourself, you've already surrendered authority. Because real power doesn't explain, it demonstrates. 1. The noise is a trap. The world worships noise, opinions, updates, notifications, endless talking. Everyone wants to be heard. Few want to be effective. When you talk too much, you leak power. You reveal your intentions, your insecurities, your doubts. The disciplined person holds their tongue until speaking becomes a weapon, not a release. You don't impress people by talking. You impress them by not needing to. When you master silence, people project their own assumptions onto you. They start to wonder what you're thinking, what you're planning. Their curiosity becomes your advantage. That's how silent people command rooms, not because they're intimidating, but because they're unreadable. Your unpredictability makes you powerful. Your restraint makes you rare. That's the key. Restraint. Not weakness, not avoidance, but deliberate control. You don't need their permission to stay quiet. You don't need validation for not responding. You speak when your words serve a mission, not a mood. 2. Speak like a blade, sharp, rare, and purposeful. Every word you say should cut through the noise. That means you speak with precision. Confidence is not in how much you talk, it's in how clearly you deliver your message when you do. One clean, direct sentence can do more than 5 minutes of rambling. When you talk, make people feel the weight of your words. Don't fill silence just to feel comfortable. Let silence work for you. It builds tension. It commands attention. It filters out weak minds that can't handle it. You've seen it before. The leader who pauses before speaking, the athlete who says little but performs loudly, the friend who sits calmly while everyone else scrambles for attention. That's power. It's not in the sound, it's in the presence. You have a choice. You can be another voice in the chaos or the calm that cuts through it. And that calm is dangerous, because when you stop reacting to everything, people lose control over you. That's the key. You take back control the moment you stop talking just to be understood. You start speaking only to make an impact. 3. The discipline of silence. Silence is not passive, it's an active weapon. It's the ability to hold yourself back when every emotion in you wants to explode. It's saying, "Not yet." It's looking at the noise around you and choosing composure over competition. When you practice silence, you train discipline. You stop rushing to defend your ego. You stop feeding arguments that drain your energy. You learn that stillness speaks louder than statements. Here's what happens when you master silence. You stop chasing validation because silence validates itself. You start noticing patterns because quiet minds see what loud ones miss. You build authority because the fewer words you use, the more weight they carry.
The person who can hold silence can hold power. The person who can control their mouth can control their mind. You don't need to clap back. You don't need to announce your next move. Every second you stay silent, you're building tension, and that tension becomes influence. 4. From talking to moving. People who talk too much about their goals rarely achieve them. They get addicted to the feeling of sounding productive. But talking about progress isn't progress. You want to be dangerous? Move in silence. Let your results speak. Let your habits talk. Let your consistency shout so loud that your mouth never has to. You don't need to tell them what you're building. You need to build it. You don't need to prove who you are. You need to be it. It's not about expression. It's about execution. It's not about being heard. It's about being undeniable. Real confidence doesn't need to be seen. It demands to be felt. That's why the most confident people don't argue. They don't justify. They don't announce every plan. They disappear and come back transformed. That's what makes them dangerous, because no one saw it coming. You don't need permission to stay quiet. You don't need an audience to grow. You need movement, sharp, calculated, consistent movement. 5. The presence that moves without sound. Presence is not built through words, it's built through rhythm, through control, through the energy you bring into a space. When you walk into a room, don't announce yourself. Let your energy announce you. When you achieve something, don't explain it. Let your work explain itself. That's the essence of dangerous confidence, quiet intensity. The type that doesn't need to say, "I'm different," because everyone already feels it. You don't have to chase acknowledgement when your results make noise for you. You don't have to talk about how focused you are when your silence proves it. That's the mindset they don't want you to have, because a silent, disciplined person is impossible to manipulate. When you stop talking, they lose access to your emotions. When you stop reacting, they lose control. That's how you win quietly, consistently, dangerously. So remember this: every word has a cost. Every reaction has a price. Every unnecessary explanation steals energy from your mission. Be intentional. Speak less. Move sharper. Because silence isn't empty, it's full of power. And now that you've mastered your words, let's step into your next level of strength. You've learned to be calm under noise. Now it's time to learn to rise under pressure. Chapter 8. Pressure creates presence. Pressure is not punishment. It's preparation. Every moment that feels heavy is shaping you into someone unshakable. Every test, every rejection, that's the heat that hardens your character. Confidence isn't built in comfort. Confidence is forged in fire. You don't become solid by avoiding the burn. You become solid by staying in it until it stops scaring you. The more heat you handle, the stronger your presence becomes. That's the rule. That's the truth. That's the key. 1. Stop running from the weight. Most people crumble under pressure because they were taught to fear it. They think pressure means something's wrong. They think discomfort means they're losing. But you're different. You're learning that pressure is feedback. It's not a sign to quit. It's a signal to grow. Pressure exposes where you're weak. It forces you to adapt, to stretch, to strengthen what you ignored when things were easy. And that's the exact reason most people never evolve. They escape the moment they start sweating. Every time you run from pressure, you teach your mind to be fragile. Every time you stay in it, you teach your mind to be unbreakable. You have a choice. You can keep searching for comfort, or you can start training for greatness. You can be the person who folds, or the one who endures. That's the key. The difference between the ordinary and the unstoppable is simple. One keeps breathing under pressure, the other begs to be rescued. 2. Pressure is the gym for your mind. Think of pressure as a mental workout. Every rep is a challenge, the weight of expectations, deadlines, uncertainty. And just like the gym, if you stop lifting, you stop growing. You don't build confidence by talking about it. You build it by carrying something heavy and realizing you didn't break. When life gets difficult, that's not the universe punishing you. That's the universe handing you weights. And every rep counts. Every hard conversation, every failure, every sleepless night, that's a rep in your training. You don't get presence by reading about it. You earn it by showing up when you'd rather disappear. Pressure gives you two gifts. 1, resilience, the ability to keep your composure when everything feels unstable. 2, presence, that calm authority that comes from having survived chaos before. That's why people who've been through real battles walk differently. They don't flinch. They don't panic. They've carried enough weight to know they can handle more. You don't need their permission to grow stronger. You just need to stop dodging the heat, because that heat is shaping you into something solid, something that can't be moved. 3. Pressure creates presence. What is presence? Presence is that quiet strength people feel when you enter a room. It's the energy that says, "I've been through worse, and I'm still here." Presence isn't born from talent or talk. It's born from trials. Every time you stand your ground under pressure, you build it. Every time you don't flinch, don't fold, don't explain, your presence expands. People can feel it. They can feel when someone has carried storms and stayed steady. They respect it, even if they don't understand it. You can't fake presence. You have to earn it. And the only way to earn it is to stop treating pressure like a problem and start treating it like your training partner. Pressure doesn't break real ones. It builds them. It shapes your posture, your tone, your gaze. It teaches you how to stand still in the middle of chaos and still look in control. That's the secret of powerful people. Not that they're fearless, but that they've been forged. The more heat you handle, the more your presence grows. Not because the heat gets easier, but because you get stronger. That's the key. Presence comes from pain, properly processed. 4. How to train under pressure. You want to be dangerous? Stop looking for easy. Start looking for resistance. Pressure isn't something you avoid. It's something you practice. Here's how. Stay calm under stress. When everyone else panics, breathe. Don't react. Respond. Delayed comfort. Sit with tension. Don't rush to escape it. The discomfort is where growth happens. Embrace responsibility. When something goes wrong, take ownership. That weight builds leadership. Raise the bar daily. Challenge yourself in small ways. Cold showers, harder workouts, deeper focus. That micro pressure builds macro confidence. You can't control the storm, but you can control your stance. You can't control how heavy it feels, but you can choose not to drop it. You have a choice. You can live soft or you can get sharp. You can stay fragile or you can become fireproof. Every time you face pressure and stay composed, you're sending your future self a message: I can handle this. And that's how presence is born. Through repetition, through training, through heat. 5. Pressure is the price of becoming real. The world respects results, not excuses. You don't build those results in perfect conditions. You build them in chaos. You can't expect to stand strong in front of others if you collapse in private. That's why pressure is not your enemy. It's your exposure. It shows you exactly where you're weak. That's not shameful. It's useful, because now you know where to build muscle. Stop praying for an easy path. Start praying for endurance, because the truth is, comfort breeds mediocrity, but pressure breeds power. Every great leader, athlete, and creator you admire didn't rise in peace. They rose in pressure. They stayed in the fire long enough to stop fearing it. You don't need their approval to suffer well. You just need discipline to stay in the process, because pressure is proof you're in the arena, not on the sidelines. That's the key. Pressure creates presence because it strips away pretense. When life presses you, it reveals the real you, and the real you, when refined, is unstoppable. So here's your reminder. The pressure you feel right now is not punishment, it's the invitation. It's life saying, step up. It's your moment to practice calm under chaos. You don't need more comfort, you need more capacity. You don't need less pressure, you need more power to hold it. Every time you carry the heat, your presence gets louder, even in silence. Because presence isn't built in peace, it's built in pressure. And now that you've learned how to stand strong under the weight, it's time to embody the power you've built. Chapter 9. Move like you already belong.
Confidence isn't something you wait to feel. It's something you do. You don't become confident and then act. You act, and then your brain catches up. That's the secret no one tells you. The mind follows motion. The way you move, speak, and carry yourself teaches your mind what kind of person you are. If you move like an outsider, your brain believes you are one. If you move like you already belong, your mind rewires to match that identity. You don't need to wait for validation to start acting like you deserve the room. You move like you belong until you do. That's the key. That's the transformation. 1. Act first, the mind will follow. You've been told confidence is mental, that you have to think your way into strength. Wrong. Confidence starts in your behavior. It's 80% action, 20% thought. You move before you believe. You walk before you feel ready. You speak before the fear leaves your chest. Your brain learns from repetition. Every movement, every word, every breath is data. When you move like someone who belongs, your nervous system adapts. That's not fake. That's programming. You're not pretending, you're training. It's not about arrogance. It's about alignment. You're aligning your body with the identity you're stepping into. So, fix your posture. Square your shoulders. Lift your chin. Slow your steps. That's not vanity. That's psychology. The body speaks before the mouth does, and the world listens to what your body says more than what your words try to explain. You have a choice. You can let fear dictate your movements, or you can start moving like power already belongs to you. That's the key. 1.2. Walk like you belong there. The difference between someone who fits in and someone who owns the room isn't opportunity, it's energy. People who move with quiet authority don't wait for permission to stand tall. They don't shrink to make others comfortable.
When they walk into a space, they take up the room with intention, not noise. The way you walk tells the world what you think you deserve. Fast, frantic movements scream insecurity. Steady, grounded movement signals control. So, slow down. Move with weight. Move with purpose. Every step should say, I belong here. You don't need to explain why. You don't need to prove it. You just live it. Because belonging is not granted, it's assumed. And assumption becomes reality the moment you stop negotiating with your worth. That's how you flip the script. That's how you become magnetic, not by trying to fit in, but by moving like you already do. You have a choice every day: shrink or stand, fade or project, react or command. Your movement decides before your mouth does. Move like you belong, and soon you will. 9. Speak like someone with nothing to prove. When you talk, slow down. Rushing through your words is rushing through your worth. Confident people don't chase validation through speed. They let silence do half the talking. Use short sentences, direct language, calm tone. You're not trying to convince anyone. You're communicating control. Don't explain your presence. Don't over-justify your ideas. You don't owe your reasoning to everyone who questions you. You're not begging to be heard. You're giving others the chance to listen. Remember, the one who can stay silent longest often holds the real power, because silence in a world of noise feels like dominance. The key to powerful speech is not volume, it's conviction. Mean every word and stop talking when you said enough. You have nothing to prove. You don't need their permission. You only need precision in your words, in your stance, in your presence. That's how authority is built, not from shouting, but from steady control. 4. The mirror effect. The world reflects what you project. Here's what most people never realize. The world is your mirror. If you walk like you don't belong, people will treat you like you don't. If you speak like you doubt yourself, people will doubt you too. Perception creates reality. That's not hype. That's human psychology. Humans take cues from confidence. They read posture, tone, and rhythm before they hear words. So when you move with certainty, people subconsciously follow that signal. Confidence is contagious, but so is insecurity. So ask yourself, what are you projecting today? Hesitation or conviction? Timidity or quiet control? You don't have to feel ready. You have to look ready long enough for your mind to adjust. That's the key. Act first, belief second. Because the longer you behave like you belong, the faster your mind and everyone around you will accept that as truth. 5. Drop the need for approval. You can't move like you belong while you're still chasing applause. The two don't coexist. When you're waiting for someone to validate your confidence, you've already lost control. You've handed them the authority that was supposed to be yours. True belonging starts when you stop asking, "Do they like me?" and start declaring, "I'm here and I'm enough." The confident don't seek acceptance. They command respect through behavior, not begging. Stop watching the room for reactions. Let the room watch you. You don't need to compete for attention, because when your energy is grounded, attention naturally finds you. That's the paradox of real confidence. The less you chase, the more you attract. The less you try to prove, the more people believe. Move like you belong, because that's how belonging begins. 6. Your body is the message. Every motion you make sends a message. Do you fidget? Do you fold your arms? Do you avoid eye contact? Those are signals of insecurity, and the world reads them instantly. But when your body says calm, your mind follows. And when your mind follows, your results change. That's the loop. That's the system. You can reverse your psychology through physical control. Posture, breathing, eye contact, stillness. Every detail counts. Train your body to mirror the future you, not the fearful you. Stand tall, breathe deep, move slow. That's not pretending. That's programming confidence into your nervous system. Because when your body believes, your mind obeys. 7. Belonging is not given, it's claimed. You don't hand your belongings. You claim it by how you show up. You don't wait to feel qualified. You qualify yourself through consistency, composure, and action. You don't wait for the world to invite you in. You walk in and contribute value. That's how doors open, not by asking, but by moving like you deserve to be there. You're not trespassing in success. You're returning home to the level you've always been capable of. You don't need their permission. You just need discipline. And discipline means behaving like your vision is already real, long before it is. That's the foundation of dangerous confidence. Not arrogance, not delusion. Alignment. Move like you belong until you do. You've trained your body, you've trained your composure. Now you've learned how to move like confidence itself. But the journey doesn't end here. Because dangerous confidence isn't just about movement. It's about power. Power that needs no permission, no approval, no apology. You've mastered presence. Now it's time to master dominance.
Chapter 10. Dangerous Confidence. Power without permission. This is the transformation. This is where the weak version of you dies and the dangerous version is born. Confidence is not a smile. It's not loud. It's not boastful. Confidence is calm. It's the man or woman who walks into a room and doesn't need to say a word because their presence says everything. That's dangerous confidence. And it's rare, because most people have been trained to ask for it. They wait for validation. They need applause before they move. They need someone to tell them, you're good enough. But you are done waiting. You've learned that power doesn't come from permission. It comes from discipline, from the ability to act even when no one claps. You have nothing to prove, only standards to uphold. That's the mindset of someone unstoppable. Confidence isn't a product of motivation. It's the byproduct of mastery. Every rep, every hour of practice, every night you stayed up sharpening your mind while others slept, that's where confidence is born. Confidence is built in silence, not on stage. The real work happens when no one's watching. That's the secret most people miss. They think confidence comes first. No, confidence comes after consistency. You don't need their permission. You don't need their belief. You need your standards. When you hold yourself to a standard, everything changes. You stop begging for recognition. You stop chasing approval. You stop explaining yourself. Because people who operate from standards don't explain, they demonstrate. They move differently. They know who they are. And that's why dangerous confidence feels so effortless. It's not forced. It's not noisy. It's the quiet understanding that you're built for this. Listen, the world will always test your confidence. It'll question your worth. It'll throw rejection, delay, and criticism at you just to see if you'll fold. And that's where most people break. They take rejection personally. They start doubting their gift. They stop showing up. But not you. You understand that rejection isn't a reflection, it's a resistance. It's the universe testing whether your belief in yourself is real. Dangerous confidence is when you face rejection and keep walking. You hear the no and you keep building. You get ignored and you still show up sharper than before. Because confidence without pressure is imagination, but confidence that survives pressure, that's transformation. You have a choice: to be the kind of person who collapses when no one cheers, or the kind of person who builds while the world sleeps. That's the key. Confidence is not thinking you're better than anyone. It's knowing you don't have to compete. You've outgrown comparison. Dangerous confidence doesn't need to shout, "I'm winning." It simply keeps winning, day after day, quietly, consistently. Because when you know who you are, you stop explaining why. You stop over-talking. You start executing. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. The calm one, the one observing, that's the dangerous one. Because their silence isn't insecurity, it's focus. Their restraint isn't fear, it's control. That's real power, power without permission. People will misunderstand you when you start walking in this kind of confidence. They'll call it arrogance. They'll label you cold. They'll say you've changed. They're right. You have changed. You're no longer desperate to fit in. Confidence will make you look selfish to people who benefited from your insecurity. But that's okay. Your goal isn't to be understood. It's to be effective. You've traded approval for peace. You've traded validation for self-respect. That's what dangerous confidence costs, and it's worth every ounce. Here's what most people never realize. Confidence isn't about how you feel. It's about what you do, even when you don't feel ready. You act, you move, you show up. And through those small acts of courage, you build evidence. Evidence that you can rely on yourself. Evidence that you don't break easily. That's the foundation. That's where unshakable confidence comes from. Evidence built through effort. You stop seeking external proof and start creating internal evidence. You don't say, "I'll feel confident once I'm successful." You say, "I'll become successful because I'm already confident." That's the shift. That's dangerous. Understand this. The moment you stop asking for permission, you become unstoppable. Because no one can give you power. They can only recognize it. And when you realize that truth, your life changes. You stop negotiating with fear. You stop diluting your presence. You start walking like you belong, because you do. You no longer chase opportunities. You attract them. Not because you're lucky, but because confidence is magnetic. People sense it. They feel it. They respect it, even if they don't understand it. Confidence commands attention without saying a word. That's the quiet dominance of someone who knows their worth. So let this be your declaration. You have nothing to prove, only standards to uphold. You will move with quiet conviction. You will lead yourself first. You will speak less and do more. You will let your results make the noise. No more waiting. No more shrinking. No more asking for permission to be powerful. You've earned this confidence through pain, through effort, through resilience. And now you walk in it. Not arrogantly, not desperately, but with a calm, steady fire that no one can extinguish. This is your new identity. Powerful, disciplined, unapologetically confident. You don't need permission to lead your life. You don't need approval to move in purpose. You don't need applause to validate your worth. You have already proven yourself to yourself. That's enough. So stand tall, move forward, and remember, dangerous confidence isn't about showing the world who you are. It's about never forgetting it yourself. Before you go, take a moment to breathe. You've just finished something most people never will, an entire journey of mental discipline, courage, and dangerous confidence. Now it's your turn to act. If this audiobook challenged you, strengthened you, or woke something powerful inside you, show it. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's coming next. Turn on the bell notification because the next lesson could be the one that changes your life. And don't keep this power to yourself. Share it. Send it to someone who needs to rise. You've built strength here. Now take it into your world. Walk with calm power, quiet confidence, and zero permission. Your transformation begins now.